Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with your daily update for Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP. Yesterday's video was a lot more popular than my videos usually are, and we've got a whole bunch of new subscribers. I'm really mystified though as to why. Where did you guys all come from? Can you let me know in comments below just to ease my curiosity? So welcome and thank you so much for everyone's support and engagement. I'm really enjoying doing these videos for you. Quite a lot to get through today. I'm going to try my hardest to get it done in under 10 minutes. There's a little pennant pattern here on Bitcoin, and price has just managed to close above it yesterday on an upward session with push from volume. I'm going to have a little bit of confidence in this breakout. I might need to redraw the pennant. I don't know. I don't really want to do that because then it's not going to look like a pennant. The trend lines should be converging. Both of them should have a slope. So if we've got an upward breakout, the target is 52,388. To calculate a target from a pennant, you take the flagpole, and I'm judging the flagpole to be from this low to this high. You add that distance to the breakout point, and that's how you do it. Along the way up, we may see some resistance, about 48,000, but if price just slices through that, then look out for a little back test of support before it moves up and away. If this breakout is going to fail, then I still expect pretty strong support may continue to hold at 41,100. If it doesn't, next support below is really strong at 38,500. If we do see an unexpected downward movement, I would not expect it to be much, if at all, below 38,500 at this time. Upward session for yesterday has pushed from volume. That is really impressive to see in current conditions with sideways movement. So it gives me just a little bit of confidence that we might be seeing an upward breakout from that pennant pattern. And the other thing that's giving me just a little bit of confidence we're about to see some upward movement is a bullish signal from on balance volume. This yellow resistance line is horizontal and it has 3 tests, so not a lot of tests. It's not too long held, but it is horizontal. It's got more than 2, it's got 3 tests, so there is a bit of technical significance here. We've used these signals from on balance volume before recently, and they work really well. Now, it doesn't always work. This is not 100% guaranteed, but on balance of probability, I say it's more likely than not that we're probably going to get some upward movement imminently from Bitcoin, and it could be quite strong. ADX is still declining. It's out of extreme territory, more into neutral, but it's still above both the DX lines, so it's not setting itself up for a really strong signal. But if the ADX line turns around and has a positive slope, it is again going to indicate a trend. It's normal for ADX to decline like this during a consolidation. The model of stochastics plus support and resistance I'm going to view a little bit differently, because the last swing to support, stochastics reached just above the 50 mark, and then we saw a swing to resistance and stochastics overbought. Now we're seeing a swing to support and stochastics just below the 50 mark. It's now positive and moving higher. I expect that could be the end of the downward swing. So this agrees with the pennant pattern, the breakout and the bullish signal from on balance volume today for Bitcoin. I see some exciting things happening for Ethereum as well, and I'm going to change my Elliott Wave count tentatively to potentially seeing a short, brief, shallow zigzag over here for my Newt Wave 2. Second wave corrections for cryptocurrencies are commonly extremely deep, but at this point in time in the wave count, with a third wave at minor, intermediate, primary and cycle degree, 4 large degrees in its early stages, the strong upward force of those big third waves could potentially force this little second wave correction to be more brief and shallow than it may otherwise be. I'm drawing an Elliott channel around this little zigzag from the start of A to the end of B with a copy on A. I want to see a full green candlestick above this channel and not touching it to meet my very conservative definition of a channel breach, and then I will have confidence that my Newt 2 is over. If we then see a new high beyond the end of 1, then my Newt 3 will have met a core Elliott Wave rule. It must move beyond the end of 1, and if that happens with strength, then I'll eliminate the possibility of a B wave, and I'll say it's most likely my Newt 2 is over. So a little ways to go before I really have confidence in this labeling, and that's why I'm going to leave the invalidation point down here. My Newt 2 most certainly could continue lower, but it may not move beyond the start of 1 below 1521.78. When we see new highs above the end of my Newt 1 with strength, that's when I'll pull the invalidation point up to the end of my Newt 2. It's premature to do that yet, but it is looking more likely that it could be over. I drew your attention to a little flag pattern yesterday, but I want to draw the lower line like this. They should be parallel, but you really should draw it like this. It should have at least 2, or to have 3 tests along here. This might be a little continuation pattern, and we might be about to see an upward breakout. Flags and pennants are always continuation patterns. Triangles are either continuation or reversal patterns. You have to wait for the breakout from them to know what direction it's going to be in. But flags and pennants, the breakout is in the same direction as the angle of entry. I've taken the flagpole from this low to this high and added it to this point, which would be the breakout point. I get a target about 2678. Along the way up, I think next time price comes up to resistance at 2,400, it might not find much resistance there. That's been tested a few times back here. Next time it comes up, it may be able to slice through. If it can close above 2,400, look out for a back test of support before price moves up and away. If we do see a break below support at 2,100, I would expect strong support at 1,880, but 2,100 is pretty strong. This is normal behavior for price. It had a consolidation here, resistance at 2,100, it breaks above. Next resistance was found at 2,400. A back test of support has been tried 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and support has held. The more often support or resistance is tested and holds, the stronger it becomes. So this area is now very strong. Yesterday, a little upward session with push from volume is really good to see. This is bullish for the short term. And Ethereum also has a bullish signal from on-balance volume. This resistance line has a very, very shallow slope. It's got 4 tests, so it's a little bit better than Bitcoin, and it's slightly longer held. So this bullish signal for Ethereum tells us that the breakout from the flag may come very soon. I love it when on-balance volume works like this. Sometimes it will break out of its resistance or support prior to price, and when it does that, it gives us advance warning of the most likely direction for price to break out from a consolidation. That could be what's happening here. Now again, this is not 100% certain, but it is more likely than unlikely. We are always dealing with a balance of probabilities in all analysis, technical and fundamental, and you have to really wrap your head around we're dealing with probabilities, not certainties. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It'll happen again. I'm going to say it's more likely than not we're going to see an upward breakout for Ethereum imminently. ADX is still declining well into neutral. I'll just call this neutral. It's certainly out of extreme territory. It's not below the DX lines though, so it's not setting itself up for a really strong signal. But if the black ADX line again has a positive slope, it will again indicate a trend. With no clear trend indicated, a model of stochastics plus support and resistance expects a continuation of a downward swing to go a little bit further, and still stochastics reaches oversold and price reaches support at the same time. I don't have a lot of confidence in this model in current situations, and I'm going to give much more weight to that bullish signal from on-balance volume, and that's why I've changed my Elliott Wave count slightly today for Ethereum. My Elliott Wave count for XRP is the same. I'm still seeing a zigzag continuing lower for minor wave 2. Minor wave 1 is a 5-wave impulse. Minute 1, deep double zigzag for 2. Impulse for 3. Probably a little triangle in here for 4. Fifth wave moves beyond the end of the third, so minor wave 1 a complete 5-wave impulse. Minor 2 continuing lower potentially as a single zigzag, A, B, C. I have C as an ending contracting diagonal. Minuet 4 of the diagonal moved up a little bit higher yesterday, but it's still shorter than 2. For the Elliott Wave rules regarding the structure to be met, Minuet 4 may not move above 0.6306. At that point, it would be equal in length with Minuet 2. So at that point, I discard the ending contracting diagonal. The diagonal is contracting, so the fifth wave may not be longer than the third. The third is shorter than first, and third waves can never be the shortest in any structure at all. That's a really important core rule. So the fifth wave may not be longer than the third. It reaches equality with the third at 0.5574. So at that point or below, again, the contracting diagonal is discarded. That means this target's a bit too low, and I have been saying I think it might be a bit low. Well, it is, if this structure is valid. And so I expect minor 2 may end with a slight new low below 0.5805. If that happens, I'd label the structure complete, and I'd expect a third wave at minor, intermediate, primary, and cycle degree 4 large degrees may have just begun, and the target for intermediate 3, 9.57. I'm going to consider potentially a descending triangle. It's a larger pattern than a pennant or a flag, And triangles, in classic terms, not Elliott Wave, classic triangles are different, and they are either continuation or reversal patterns, so you have to wait for the breakout before you know what direction it's going to go in. Descending triangles break out more often downward than they do upward, about 65% of the time, and I'm getting this information from one of my favourite textbooks, Kirkpatrick and Dahlquist's Technical Analysis. It's a fantastic, easy reference for all things technical. If we see an upward breakout, it must have push from volume for confidence. I will calculate a target about 85 cents. I'm taking that the base of the triangle and adding that to the potential breakout point. Very simple. Along the way up, there's still resistance about 0.675, but it's not very strong. And above that, 82 cents, I'd expect next resistance. If there's a downward breakout, a target would be about 45 cents, but I have to say, I think this is way, way too low. I don't think we're going to see lows below 55 cents at this point for XRP. Just because there's really strong technical support in that area, and the larger trend in the Elliott Wave count is for a lot of upward movement. I don't think we're going to see 45 cents. Yesterday's session for XRP was really quiet with minuscule volume, so if you've come here for XRP, that's why I'm so mystified. What happened? I couldn't see any headlines, but okay, welcome. Today, so far, some downward movement, a little bit of a push from volume within the session, and no signal from on-balance volume for XRP. It's tracing out a little range. We need to wait for a break above resistance or below support to look for a signal. ADX here is essentially flat. It might have the tiniest upward slope. It may be indicating a downward trend. That's it from me, and I hope everyone's having a lovely day.